like a drone.
Oh, likes the attention.
Isn't that nice? We're already seeing animals and
That is so awesome. Here and pick up your photos. It's like a jungle. Don't worry, you guys. I won't jump in anywhere to get any closer for badass pictures. This is Animal Kingdom. Where? Sorry. Where? Where? Oh, boy. I thought you saw something. Look, do you recognize that tree? That's the tree of life from Avatar. So at night, like around 8 o'clock, they're gonna have like a display here. The tree's gonna like light up and everything. So I'm definitely gonna come back for that. What we need one for? We'll just go with the Avatar. Oh look, what is that?
It's for the movie Up. The movie Up, remember?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the movie Up.
Pandora's that way. It's tough to be a bug. Africa, Asia. A big ass bird. I don't know. No, probably somebody's walking on it. Who knows? No te vayas a perder. We're here about to enter the world of Pandora. Pandora, the world of Avatar.
What does that sound like? Snake?
And everything. Bird, snake, Pandora. Oh, look, what's that?
I saw a snake. Mom, I saw a snake.
What's that? That big thing in the back.
Each other, just look at us right now. Destined, we're so good right now. Legend, here's to you and I. Raise them to the sky. We put the good in the good in the good life. We put the good in the good in the good life. We put the bad in the past, now we alright. Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah. We put the good in the good in the good life. We put the good in the good in the good life.
I said the good life.
Now we alright.
We alright.
There's other pandas depending.
I know, right?
That's cool.
Let me see.
Huh?
Do your face that one. Your face that one. This trip out.
Oh my god, he really does.
Oh look, there's a duck.
Mm-hmm.
That means let's go! Jumbo friends, my name is Nina and I will be your safari guide on this lovely afternoon here at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. I do have one really important rule for you before we head in, and that's for the safety of yourself and everyone around you. Please remain seated at all times. It does get very bumpy out there on the reserve. If you look right above your heads, you will see an animal spotting guide that'll help us find some of the animals that we might see out here on the reserve. We are not going to see them all, but I am going to try my very best to point out as many as I can. I do need everyone to remain seated at all times. Now with the animal spotting guide, that being said, this is a photo safari. Make sure to have those cameras out and ready on the sports or action mode. Remember, these are wild animals. They will not stop and pose for a picture for us. And I'm just a safari guide. I cannot stop for every single animal, or that would make for a very long day. Now right now we are waiting for the word to give everyone the all clear, and then we will head into the reserve. Do you have any first time safari riders with me today? First time safari riders?
Yes.
I see you there in the back and right here behind me. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for choosing my safari. We are going to have so much fun. For everyone else who is coming back, thank you so much for returning. Every safari is new and different, and we see new things every single time we go out on the reserve. Just animals definitely make sure of that. So once the word gives us the all clear, we will go on into the reserve and see what we can find out there. Our first stop is going to be the Little Ituri Forest. Give me the all clear, and our journey does Actually, no, wait one more time right here. And then we will go have some fun. Again, I said we are entering the Little Ituri Forest. It is home to many animals that are known to camouflage. They will have markings on their bodies to help them blend into their environment. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled because sometimes they can be very hard to see. Now it looks like we have that all clear, so let's go look for some animals. Now I'm already seeing some animals up there. Straight ahead, it'll be on the left, you'll see an orange animal. That's called the bongo. The bongo is also known as the ghost of the forest because they are very rarely ever seen, and they take very deliberate steps in order to make next to no noise as they make their way through the forest. They have those white lines on their bodies that mimic the moonlight or the sunlight coming through the trees that also helps them blend in. Up there with them, a more sandy-colored antelope called the greater kudu.
On the
They're the tallest
bushes.
antelope in the forest. They're about 55 inches tall from the shoulder. Also there on the right, walking around, that is the okapi. Now the okapi has markings on their body that may make it resemble a zebra, but that is in fact the only known living relative to the giraffe. That's because they have almost the exact same skeletal structures. They also have the exact same prehensile tongue. It's about 18 to 20 inches long, and the okapi can use it to clean its eyeballs and ears. Now here's a better look at those greater kudu up there. There's 3 of them. Those are all females. We know that because they do not have horns. Males have horns, females do not. If you go all the way up to that animal spotting guide, all the way to the left, you will see a greater kudu. He does have horns. That's because he is a male, and those horns are about 6 feet long. Left-hand side is the black rhino. There's 2 of them. There's one way in the back there, and then closest to us here on the left. So the black rhino folks, is a critically endangered species. There are only about 5,000 black rhinos left in the world. That's because they are being poached for their horns. Their horns are not to have a medicinal value, but they are in fact only made out of the keratin found right in our fingernails and hair. No value whatsoever. The black rhino is a little over 3,000 pounds, and it can run about 35 miles an hour, which is pretty impressive considering how much they weigh. They do have a prehensile upper lip, which helps them lift their head to get the berries and leaves off the trees. Unlike a lot of other types of rhinos, this makes them very unique. But folks, we have seen a ton of animals already, and we are just getting started. We still have a lot more safari to go and a lot of land to cover, so we are going to leave the forest now, and we're heading into the Safi River. This is home to many aquatic animals that live in or on the water.
white birds on the island is called the pink-backed pelican. They get their name because during mating season they get a pink coloration on their back. They have a very long wingspan. It's about 7 to 9 feet long when it's fully extended. It's about the length of the canopy right above our heads from right to left. Also there in the water further ahead on that left-hand side is the Nile hippopotamus. We'll get closer to it in just a moment. Now tipping the scales at over 5,000 pounds, yes, 5,000 pounds. Hippos can hold their breath for about 8 minutes at a time. So they will fully submerge themselves in the water, holding their breath, really just coming up for air. There's a few of them there in the water. They do leave the water every so often in order to get food, and they can go a few miles outside the water, get their food, and come right back. And hippos are mostly a nocturnal species, so they will sleep most of the day, even underwater, periodically coming up for air as they sleep. A group of hippos is called a float. They swim around, they're far too dense to swim, so they will sink to the bottom of the water and walk along the bottom in order to get around. And remember, I do need everyone to remain seated at all times. That is for your safety.
Oh, there's another one over there. Put him over here, no?
And coming around the corner here on the left-hand side is a Nile crocodile. Now, a bunch of crocodiles, Jeremiah. But they do need to regulate their own body temperature. On a hot day, sometimes they'll be laying there with their jaws open as they cool their bodies down about 15 degrees.
Whoa, that's a lot of
them. They can crush up to 2,000 pounds per square inch. They can take down anything as large as a zebra, but they usually like to keep it local and maybe keep a fish that lives right in the water with them. Now, crocodiles are known to go months without any food, but once they do finally decide to eat, they can eat up to half their body weight in just one sitting. Are thinning here, which means that we're leaving the Softy River and we're heading into the savannah. The savannah is home to many iconic African animals that you might know, like the giraffe, the lion, and the elephant. As we enter the savannah, over here on the right-hand side, this is called the baobab tree. The baobab tree is also known as the tree of life because it can live 1,000 to 2,000 years, and it can store thousands of gallons of water right inside those trunks. During the dry seasons, animals will live around the baobab tree in order to get some of that water. Here's a beautiful view of the Western African savanna. I'm already seeing a lot of activity out here, so we're going to try to get a closer look. Now, just a reminder, friends, my name is Nina, and I'm happy to answer any and all questions that you might have out here on the reserve today. Just shout them out. My window is literally always open, and I'll give you the best answer I can possibly come up with. But over here on the right-hand side is the Ankole cattle. You'll see them with their very large horns. Now, they can also be called the Watusi cattle, and those very large horns play an important role in their blood circulation. They have a honeycomb structure on the inside of those horns, which help them circulate blood up into their horns through that honeycomb structure, cooling themselves off and then right back into their body. It is just like having their own personal air conditioner right on top of their heads. Those horns can reach about 3 to 4 feet long, but when they grow outwards, they can be about 6 feet from end to end. Now, they're not very heavy. They do look rather heavy, but as I said, they have that honeycomb structure on the inside of them, which means that they are basically hollow. So they're only about 3 pounds each. Over here on the left-hand side on top of this rock structure is the African wild dog. Now, they're also known as the painted dog, and these dogs might be cute, but they are ferocious. They do a 95% success rate when they hunt, and that's because they are all about the teamwork. They will work as a team in order to chase their prey down till they drop from exhaustion, but they sure are cute. I'm gonna pull up just a little bit so we can see them. Right here, we're able to see those ones behind.
They're like
Now we're going to get another look at these Ankole cattle here. On the left, you'll be able to see those very long horns. They can grow in an O shape or outwards. This one over here on the left, they do grow in an O shape. As we come around the savannah, you'll see these mounds. These are termite mounds on our right and left side, and they are as hard as concrete. They are made out of the mud and dung that the animals leave behind here on the savannah. They're made by termites, and they are very helpful to the animals out here. Larger animals like elephants or giraffes can use them as scratching posts until they're totally fine down. And then antelopes and gazelles, those smaller antelopes, can use them as looking points to find their predators out here on the savannah. I am seeing a lot more activity further up ahead, so we're going to keep going here through the savannah. We're going to wave goodbye to those Ankole cattle and see what's going on up here. Now, way up here on the right, all the way up on the hill, you'll see some very dark antelope. That's a herd of white bearded wildebeest. Now, if anyone's seen a little movie called The Lion King, that movie was not exaggerating. Wildebeest do travel in herds up to 1.5 million when they migrate, and they can travel about 1,000 miles in that herd. They get their name from the Afrikaans word that means wild beast, and they can also be referred to as gnu, that's spelled G-N-U, and that refers to the sound that they make just like a cow says moo. Next to them there, those smaller antelope, they're called the springbok, those little walking s'mores up there. And they are rightfully named. They can jump about 6 feet high in the air and 13 feet in front of them. When they do it all together, it's called pronking, and it's super cool to watch. And straight ahead, I do see a giraffe. It'll be up there on our left-hand side. Now, the giraffe is the tallest land mammal in the world. They do average about 16 to 20 feet tall when they are fully grown. They spend most of their days eating, and they only sleep 30 minutes every day. And they don't take that all at once. They take very short power naps throughout the day that are about 30 seconds to 5 minutes long. That's because they do have predators out there in the wild. They need to be able to stay on their toes at all times. That being said, they don't actually sleep laying down. They sleep standing up or leaning against the trees. It takes about 30 seconds to lay down, 30 seconds to stand back up. That is too long to be vulnerable out there in the wild. We do see them laying down every so often on the reserve because they know they do not have predators here. This is the Maasai giraffe. It's the smallest of the 9 different subspecies of giraffe. They have a very random and jagged pattern on their coat. If you head over to the Animal Kingdom Lodge, you'll see what's called a reticulated giraffe. It's a little bit bigger than the Maasai, and they have a more geometric pattern on their coat.
Why are they slinging their
Now, that was a very normal behavior for giraffes. That is 2 male giraffes fighting over dominance. It's very normal.
Oh, dominance. Over dominance.
Straight ahead here on our right is the African elephant. Now we know that's an African elephant because those ears are shaped like the continent of Africa. Now that is most likely a male because he is all by himself. Males will leave the rest of the herd in their very early to mid-teens. It's because males are more solitary than females. Sometimes males like to form bachelor herds, but they do normally stay by themselves. Here on the left-hand side is the mandrill. You can see a few of them running around out here. Now the mandrill is the largest and most colorful species of monkey. The most dominant male, as you can see, has the most vibrant colors, and that's to attract the most dominant female. Now this is just a male elephant. We're going to go see if we can find the rest of the herd. Herds of elephants mainly consist of females and juveniles, as I said, and usually they're not too far behind, so we're going to go see if we can find them. The bottom of these clay pits down here on the right and left side. There's a lot down there on the right, and you see some footprints down here. That could mean that there might have been some recent elephant activity around. We're going to see what we can find out here and make sure to keep an eye out. Now the main threat to elephants in the wild is habitat destruction. They are being forced off of their land due to the mining of coltan in the African soil. Now coltan is also a mineral that's found right in our cell phones. So one thing that we can do to help out these elephants there to the left is once we get a new cell phone, we can recycle that old one that we're never going to use again. That way these elephants can stay on their land because we'll be getting the coltan out of the phone and not the soil. But it's not just a problem for elephants, it is a problem for animals all over the world that are being affected by these things like habitat destruction, deforestation, and anything of the sort. The way that we can do our part is to recycle any and all materials that can be recycled. That way all of these animals can stay on their land. Because every living creature is beautiful and deserves to have somewhere to call them their home. You can see that elephant pretty well here on the left. Now all elephants have that very large trunk that's made out of thousands of muscles. And it's just one huge thing of muscle that does help the elephant in their day-to-day life. It has two prehensile pinchers on the end of that trunk, which can pick up anything as small as a dime. So most of the time you see elephants picking up their food and putting it in their mouth with their trunk. That is how they eat. We're going to try to get a better look at them over here on the left. It looks like a lot of the herd is over here. And you'll see some dirt and mud on their back. That does keep them cool. And it also protects their skin. Elephants are known to have very sensitive skin. If you look over there on the right, you can see those springbok and wildebeest there. Now the on the left is the greater flamingo. Now this is the largest and lightest of the flamingo species. Their diet mainly consists of brine shrimp, which contains beta-carotene that gives them that pink color. You'll see that some flamingos like to stand with one leg up in the air. That is their own way of regulating their body temperature. It's just like when we go to bed at night, we put one leg outside the covers.
That's funny.
You'll see the rest of the herd there on the left as well.
Después de todos los otros animales que mira, viven, o sea, conviviendo, nada, y como hacen aquí te comen.
Also here on the left I do see some mud pits. That could mean that there might be some rhino activity around. We're going to keep an eye out for that. Rhinos like to roll around in the mud. That keeps them cool on a hot day. It also acts as a natural sunblock, protecting their skin from the sun and insects around them. Here in the trees you can see a cheetah laying down on the ground just between the trees. It's kind of hard to see because it blends in with all the leaves up there, but it is moving around. Now the cheetah is the fastest land mammal in the world. They can run 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 3 seconds. Now unlike other cats, they do have non-retractable claws, which means their claws are out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that helps them grip the ground in order to go faster and longer up in
I missed.
Also,
I didn't
other
see
cats,
it.
they do their hunting during the day. Other cats and predators like to hunt at night because their eyesight is much stronger. But the cheetah can run fast enough to catch up to their prey during the day. Also here on the left is the water buck. Water bucks have a very interesting circle on their rear. That's actually how they find other water buck. You'll see it right now. So they'll look all over the savannah, and once they find that circle, they know they found one of their kind, and they will just go live with them. So it's almost like their own name tag. Also here on the left is the lion. Now lions sleep 18 to 20 hours every day and they hunt at night. Females do the hunting while the male stays home with the rest of the pride. We'll come around and get a better look at them in just a moment. Right in front of us here on the right side of our truck is the bounty buck, and this is one of my favorite animals on the entire reserve. That's because they have an amazing conservation story. In the very early 20th century, there were only 20 bounty buck left in the world. They were basically named extinct, but due to conservation efforts and reserves just like this one, they are actually doing pretty okay today, and the numbers are still rising. Now that is a true conservation story about what reserves like this can do for animals in need. They're right over there on the right hand side. But we're going to get a little closer look at these lions here on the left. As they do sleep up to 20 hours every day. That means if you add all that together, a lion is only awake for about 3 years of their life. Now these are predators that hunt during the nighttime. That's because their eyesight is about equivalent to ours during the day, but at night it is 6 times stronger. A lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away, so it can be heard all over the reserve when they choose to roar. I I do see some rhinos here on the right. This is the white rhino. The original name was the white rhino. White is Afrikaans for wide because they have a very wide jaw that they use for grazing and eating on the ground. But due to mispronunciations in the past, they are now called the white rhino. You can see that very wide jaw. It's a lot different from the black rhino that we saw earlier. As I said, the black rhino has that prehensile upper lip, and they also have a more narrow jaw. So if you compare it to the white rhino, it's a lot different. White rhinos will normally keep their head toward the ground. But folks, we saw a lot of animals out here on the savannah, so we are going to leave here now and head into Magadi Glen. This is going to be our last stop on the safari this afternoon. Just through the trees down that path is the scimitar horned oryx. It gets its name from the early Middle Eastern scimitar sword that resembles its horns. That's a very interesting animal that can go about 9 months out of the year with no water. That's because their body temperature is a lot different than ours. They can actually, they don't actually start sweating until their entire body temperature reaches about 115 degrees Fahrenheit, which is why they don't need as much water. But unfortunately, that is an animal that is labeled extinct in the wild. They're only found on reserves just like this one today. But folks, it does look like we are coming to the end of our safari. I want to thank everyone so much for coming out and looking for some animals with me. I had so much fun, and I really hope that you did too. Now, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, you can head over to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. That's home to the gorillas and other African animals that live over there. Also, if you're going to Asia, you can stop by Maharaja Jungle Trek. That's home to the tigers and Komodo dragons. A lot of the animals that we saw out here this afternoon are in need of help, and one way that we can help them out is donate to the Disney Conservation Fund. This fund helps animals all over the world that are in need of help or in danger of becoming extinct, and Disney will match dollar for dollar anything that you want to donate, and any little bit does help these animals. But folks, now's a great time to check around you. Make sure you have all your personal belongings, any hats, bags, shoes, or children that you might have left on the safari with me today. I would hate for you to forget anything. And if I have any wilderness explorers riding with me today, you were riding on the Simba 1, that's S-I-M-B-A, and the number 1. Again, folks, my name is Nina, and I had so much fun out there with y'all today. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you come back and visit me again real soon. But here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye. It is much too sad and much too final. We do like to say Kwaherini, which means go well. So Kwaherini, my